Hi, my name is Dan Surry. I'm a professor in the College of Education. I work in the Instructional Design and Development program. I have a doctoral degree in instructional technology from the University of Georgia, and I've been here at the University of South Alabama for 14 years. I've been here since 1999. My philosophy of teaching, I guess, to be honest, I don't think I've ever thought overtly about what my philosophy of teaching is. But I think there's two things that I always try to think about when I teach a class. And that is, the first thing is, how do I get people active? How can I get people away from just sitting there listening to me talk or reading text? What can I do to make this more active, more interactive? What sorts of projects can we do? What sorts of interactions can we have between the students? How can we have students create something? How can we have students add something to their professional portfolio? What are some artifacts that we can think about from this class that a student might be able to show off to a potential employer, or that might help that student reflect a little bit about what they learned or apply it? So one of the things I always think about is active. How do we get people doing things? How do we get the learners doing things? And the other thing I always think about when teaching a class is critical thinking. What are the important issues that need to be discussed? What are the important ideas that somebody needs to think about and make sense of in their own mind? I'm always telling people thinking critically is much more important than just spitting out an answer. I'm always telling people there's no one right answer. There's no one perfect way to do something. Everyone always asks for a template or an example or a model. And I'm like, we don't live in a world that values people who can fill out a template or follow a model. We live in a world that values problem solvers and creative thinkers and innovative people and creative people. So, like I said, I don't have an official philosophy of teaching, but trying to get people to be actively involved with the material, to create things, and then trying to get people to think critically and be problem solvers and to think about things in different sort of unique ways. My research is basically about technology and organizations. I think that's fascinating. We always talk about technology and the power of technology and the things that you can do with technology, but we don't often think about how technology affects people, how technology impacts organizations, what sorts of unintended consequences happen when an organization adopts a technology. What sorts of things people can do to facilitate the adoption of a technology within an organization. What are the barriers? What are the enablers? What can make technology more effective? What are some potential downsides to technology? How is, even on a bigger issue, a bigger scale, how is technology changing education? How is technology changing our society? How does society impact the way technology is developed and used? So I'm just fascinated by technology, and I'm fascinated by the sort of interaction between technology and people and organizations. My biggest service over the years has probably fall under the category of service to the profession. Mainly I've done editorial type tasks. Earlier in my career I worked as the moderator. I served as the moderator of IT Forum, which is a big listserv where a lot of people from the instructional technology community joined the listserv and talked about papers and interacted with each other. So I did that, I think, for 5 years. And then more recently I was the North American corresponding editor of the British Journal of Educational Technology. I worked with authors from North America to submit papers and revise papers and review papers for the British Journal of Educational Technology, BJET, which is one of the top journals in our field. And for the last year, I've been working as the editor-in-chief of Tech Trends. Tech Trends is a journal put out by AECT, one of the big professional organizations, and I'm currently the editor-in-chief. I work with people to have them submit papers. I send papers out for review. I give feedback to authors. I try to work with people to get special issues and spotlight issues and to do special columns and things like that. So it's really fascinating. So I think most of my service has been professional service, working with journals and being the editor or reviewer of journals. I guess my favorite thing about the University of South Alabama is that it's a vibrant, growing young campus. There are certainly downsides to that, negative aspects of it. We don't have a lot of the traditions that some of the more established universities have. A lot of our buildings are newer. We don't have generations of alumni dating back 100 to 200 years. But as a new university, there's a vibrancy and an urgency and a growth. And I think we're still in the window of people cooperating and working together and having a shared vision and a common goal. And everywhere I go throughout Mobile, everywhere I go around the Gulf Coast, I tell people I work for the University of South Alabama. They just seem excited about that. They seem positive. That people in the community have an affinity, a happiness, a good connection to the University of South Alabama. There's a lot of positive energy, a really positive vibe. And that's just really wonderful. There's really very little negativity associated with the University of South Alabama, my job, the students, the community, the people I deal with. There's just a real positive vibe, a real good energy, and I like that a lot.